Hey everybody, this is Logic Hog coming back with Project Hospital. And in the last video, we set up the bare minimum clinic that we need. We've got a janitor, we've got a couple of doctors, we are taking patients, we are making money. However, the thing is we need to grow. We need to make sure we get more patients. We need to make sure that we can treat them all. This person was limping, and due to the interview or the triage in the reception, it could be one of three things: an ankle fracture, dislocated ankle, or an ankle contusion. So, oh boy. The thing is if we're stuck with an ankle fracture, it's going to need either an X-ray or a CT in order to make sure. Physical examination may be able to eliminate one of these, and then differential diagnosis will take that 50-50 coin flip and eliminate the wrong one. So let's just see if our awesome boss doctor, Dr. Cole here, is able to handle this by himself, because he may be able to diagnose it as a fracture without having to specifically x-ray it, by knowing, oh, it's not dislocated and it's not a contusion. So great, right there, interview, bam. Identified symptoms that can only go with a certain thing. Contusion, fracture, and down to one of two things, and differential diagnosis will eliminate the wrong one out of that. But I'm going to go and let the physical examination continue, because he may not even have to do this. Any sort of examination has a possibility of adding discomfort to the examination. Yep, and see, he needs to consult the chart and uses special skills to see which one it is. Fracture, contusion. So great, it's not broken, but it's a lot cheaper to treat. And all she needs is some numbing ointment and, let's see, a brace for her ankle. Not that bad. Prints off the prescription himself, hands it to Miss Scott here. And he gives her what she needs. As our receptionist takes a shit and washes her hands. Good. How's the other doctor doing? Dr. Davis. He has crumbly fingernails. Ugh. Or toenails even. Ugh. I don't even want to think about that. Ooh, but we've got an interesting situation. Ah, here we go. So she paid $320 for her ankle contusion numbing ointment. Now we've gotten enough people treated, we can accept another insurance company to be accepted by our medical license. But that's not the interesting thing I was talking about. I was waiting to show you how people get paid in this. But I'm looking at Mr. Smith here, because we have a problem. We have a big problem. Where, again, we've got a coin flip. He's either got nail fungus or an iron deficiency. Now, there's a 53% chance, based on the symptoms shown, that it's fungus, and a 47% chance that it's iron deficiency. Well, either way, that's a coin flip. The only thing we know about him is that he's got crumbly toenails. Ugh. And unfortunately, the only thing we can have left to check for anything is mycologic sampling, which is done in a lab, or blood drawing, which is, again, done in a hematomic lab, or whatever. The hemo's blood. That's all I remember from high school about that. Now, the only thing that I'm going to say is that the only available treatment we really have that won't require any, you know, major thing is foot cream. So I'm going to, as the, overlord of this hospital, flip the coin, say, hey, you've got nail fungus, and let's treat that crumbly nail with a foot cream, and let's treat that fungus with antifungal ointment. So that way, if it's diagnosed incorrectly, it's my fault, not Dr. Davis here. Even though, hey, the lawsuit's going to be on him whenever that patient dies of iron deficiency anemia. But we can accept more patients. So let's go to our insurance companies and start accepting anybody and everybody. If you don't have insurance, we don't care. We're going to make less money off of you, but we need more of you to come in. We need more money. So it doesn't matter if you can pay us or not. Pay us later. So Barbara White's coming in again with a problem with her hands. Differential diagnosis will fix that. And what's going on with her? Can't move her arms. Her arms hurt. Ooh, that's going to need a bandage because a darker icon is a medium injury. So that's a little more severe. Not life-threatening, but definitely needs to be treated. These other ones are just kind of annoyances. They're low priority. Again, like tenderness. You just need to take a couple painkillers. But we know they're going to need a bandage. So I'm going to go ahead and, say, hey, give her the bandage. She's going to need a bandage for that injury. So that has suppressed that amount of pain. The person is having a better experience at the hospital because we've addressed the immediate issue that the arm is no longer, she doesn't have an arm injury, but it's still swollen, red. All these are annoyances, whereas that is an actual injury. Ooh, differential diagnosis with 4 different things. That's only going to eliminate one, so, oh crap. Pausing the game here. We are down to one of 3 things, and we are out of examinations. So the x-ray, the upper limb, is the only thing that can determine whether or not this is a fracture and where it is. So, oh crap, we need to open a radiology clinic because Margaret Walker cannot be treated as is. So right now, I'm going to do 2 things because we are an American hospital. So I need to make as much money off this as I can. So we're giving all these painkillers and all these creams and things like that off of these people, but then they're just going to their local CVS or corner store and, buying them from them. I want them to buy them from us. So let's go ahead. We're getting to be a pretty big doctor's office here, and we're only going to get bigger. So I'm going to build a pharmacy right across the hall. Right here. And we're going to reserve that space, and then a radiology clinic, where the radiology clinic is very similar to all the other clinics. However, it's more like a lab. So you don't need a receptionist. However, you do need a waiting room. So just for now, let's get a small waiting room, and we specifically need an x-ray room. So right there. And I'm going to go ahead, drop the foundation for all that, and we need to pretty up our walls a little bit. Like, it's just the outside walls are still, if I raise them up, this is what the it looks like, just panels of drywall from the outside. So we're gonna like beautify this a little bit, but let's go ahead and do that at this stage. Just whoops, laying the outer walls. You know, in fact, they're all going to be square, so screw it. Bam. That is going to be isolated from that, which is going to be isolated from all of this. There we go. So, let's go ahead and beautify our building a little bit. I want the exterior walls to look like this. A nice brick city building. That's an exterior wall for now. The walls in this game are very clunky because they're like Schrodinger's walls, where if you're not looking at them, they don't exist. So everything that you don't see is drywall. So like I laid all these, walls way earlier, and I still have to go back and paint them white in order to make sure that they don't look like drywall. Alright, got that, got that, got that. Got that wall. Let's just give it a good once over. Whoop, whoop, I missed the hallway there. Just making sure it looks like a completed building rather than a dump. Alright, we're good. Doors. Pharmacy needs also a good pair of fancy shiny glass doors. The X-ray machine is going to get a radiation door, and let's just say it's just a small little lab for now. We're probably going to break it down later, but this waiting room is just going to have a bunch of benches in it. And I'm not even going to put in the queuing machine because the radiologist is just going to come out here and just to anybody waiting in here and just say, hey, come on in. However, I am going to put in a vending machine. Again, putting in some just default white floors. We're going to change these later, but for now I just don't want it to look like a dump. And we need a certain amount of equipment in the X-ray room. So, let's see, what are we going to do for this? The X-ray machine can be up against the wall like that. However, there's probably best because they're not going to be over here, and they're not going to be over here, and they're going to be laying on this table. So it really just needs to be accessible from this area where the arrows are. The radiologist themselves, I like to be a little realistic with this, where the radiologist will have their desk right there. Nice little office chair. I'm going to get them a medium PC. And let's see. Over here, next to the door, they're going to have the X-ray viewer. I'm going to put that there for now. Just, you'll see in a minute. I like to use the tall equipment cabinets because they look cool. What else do I want to put in here? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not going for any decorations or things like that for now. But I am going to put an extra wall here and there. And on that wall, I'm going to add a couple windows. Watch window. That's what I'm looking for. just so that the X-ray operator can see what they're doing and be shielded from the radiation of the X-ray machine. Because when you're by that all day, every day as your main job, yeah, I mean, that level of radiation can affect your health. So now at least they have the shield in between them and the X-ray emitter. Not even really going to isolate it into, you know what, screw it. Let's enjoy ourselves a little bit. And restricted area access. That is for our operator only. It's right there, radiology. Now, radiology, it doesn't have any special skills like the differential diagnosis or anything like that, so we're really only looking for positive traits and a cheap employee. So right now, yeah, we got one guy that's cheap, but we don't know what's up with him, so let's spend a little money, and nothing negative. So he's Spartan, and does not cause discomfort, which is great for an X-ray. So you know what? Frank, you are on the team. And we got $30,000 for opening our radiology clinic, which kind of puts us right back where we were. So that was a neutral investment by building an X-ray machine. Now, let's get something that'll squeak a little money out of our patients. We need to build that pharmacy. So, we need 3 shelved cabinets for the medicine. And I want these green pharmaceutical counters, but here's what I was looking for. Nope, just fill in the gaps. There's a ton of extra medicine back there. We've got everything you want. Don't go to CVS, buy it from us. And our advice counter is going to be right there. Just something to say drop-offs. Where's the neutral? This one's neutral, neutral, and then the one that's on the right. So this is our working area. Our pharmacist, or 2, are going to be right there, even though we're only going to need 1 right now. Let's give them a medium computer. Let's see. Let's do... You know what? There, let's put a sign out there saying, hey, you know, you can buy it from us. And let's fill this place with a bunch of other medicine. And even, let's go there, there. And this is actually important too for the pharmacy because you're going to have queues of people waiting to buy their medicine. So put down a couple benches in the pharmacy. So now we have, I'm going to go ahead and invest in the second computer. Just whenever we need it, we'll have a second person operating the pharmacy in case the first person's on break. You'll see everybody goes to the pharmacy. So it's very important you always have someone at the desk. They don't make a lot of money per purchase. However, they do make a lot of money over a long period of time. So let's see. Anything else? Anything for the hallway? Let's just put a water dispenser out here, I guess. Maybe a bench next to there, bench next to there. Nothing really else. Everything's got a vending machine where, you know, if they want refreshment, they can buy it from me. I'm not giving it to them for free. Let's see. Just some beautification. Let's put a notice board by the front door. Ooh, a nice little plant. And maybe a first aid kit next to the front door, just in case. You never know who's going to walk in with, you know, their throat ripped out. And of course a Band-Aid. You just slap a band-aid on that and it'll be fine. Ah, we need a pharmacist. So let's go to the administrative section. Pharmacy is under the administrative department. And let's just get someone to sit there and deal drugs. So scholar, not a negative trait, but I mean pretty average pay. Good pay for a pharmacist. No positive traits though. Well, you know what? Let's roll the dice. I want a good, really good pharmacist. Oh, dang it. There's the pleasant, which is great, but they're dirty, and there's no guarantee that they're going to be there for work on time every day. And we only have one pharmacist. That is unacceptable. Spending a little bit more money. Let's roll the dice. Alright, again, can't be late. Expensive, but nothing negative here. Means that they get tired faster because they have a kid. I'm not getting good vibes from that. Nothing negative here. They're expensive. Negative, negative, double negative. And again, can't, rolling again. 366 is expensive for nothing positive. Whereas this, alright, 225, and they'll stay at their desk, like they don't need to go to the bathroom or anything like that. Alright, Nancy Foster, you're on the team. We now have a pharmacist. Great. So we have just basically doubled the size of our clinic. But now, they don't go to CVS, they buy their drugs from me. And we can determine whether all these things are fractures or not. And while they're getting treated by the x-ray specialist, the radiologist, the doctor is free to look at more people. So that actually opens the doctor's office to handle more patients, because it's all about how many you're handling at once. So what's up with you? Hand contusion. Great. You're already treated. Get out of here. Ah, Margaret Walker. We're back to her. Hey, are you aware that we have a new x-ray machine that we just installed across the hallway? You might want to check them out. Let's keep our eye on her. Margaret Walker. Thing is our employee hasn't gotten here yet. I don't think. No, no, he's there. Alright, and this one treatment is not really discomforting, but it will determine whether or not there's any broken bone, where the broken bones are, and if there's no broken bones, it has to be a contusion. So we can finish the diagnosis here, and we have another successfully treated patient out of the 20 that we expect. Come on. How many patients do we have here? It's a slow day. We're managing really well. Oh, it is raining. See, early treatment of that arm injury by giving the bandage is actually giving a better experience at the hospital. Ah, see, there's no broken bones. Great, the x-ray showed there's nothing wrong with her. So she's going to go back whenever there's an open office again. She's going to say, hey, here's the x-ray results. It's just an arm contusion. Two more patients. What's up with you? You don't want to talk to the receptionist, huh? Okay. Your fault then. Need a lobotomy. Ah! What are you buying from me? You've got chicken pox. You need antivirals. $170 right there. It costs $70 to diagnose them and see the doctor, and we got $170 off of the medication for the treatment. So the treatment itself from the pharmacy was worth more than the actual visit to the doctor's office. That's why we built the pharmacy. Now again, that one was $40. What'd you get? Did you just get some painkillers or something? Well, he just needs rest, but yeah, they just gave him some, fever reducing drugs and painkillers. So that's pretty cheap. It's like, take your Tylenol. Margaret Walker, what are you getting? Numbing ointment and analgesics. Painkillers. $30. Again, not much, but that's an extra $30 onto like the how much? 320 from the doctor's office. So that's over time that adds up, chunk after chunk after chunk. It makes you a lot of money from the pharmacy, and we'll be able to see that in the budget. Because right now here, you know, we've got $1,800 from the clinic, but 270 puts that over $2,100 for the budget. So our doctor's office is actually looking pretty good, even though we've spent a lot on that radiology clinic. But we are looking good to expand in the future, and so we'll look into seeing whether or not we can open a medical laboratories clinic. But for now, I'm just going to call that the end of the video. And this is Project Hospital, and you're starting to see like this is going to get big, this is going to get crazy real fast with so many people that you can't look at individual people. You have to trust in your doctors, and they're off inspecting people left and right, and it just gets into a crazy little anthill of a hospital. So I'm looking forward to making more videos on this, because I really love this game where you can just sit in this view right here, not having to touch everything, and just watch everybody buzz about and do their jobs. And you got people passing out and going to the hospital and dying, and this person's like cleaning up someone's blood off the ground somewhere, and oh, it gets crazy. So I'm really looking forward to showing more of this. This is Logic Hog, playing what I want when I want, and hopefully I can share my experience with you so that you can find out, oh, I actually like this game too. So thanks again. End of the video. Bye.